Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up in their names, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today, I'm going to talk about something that actually I just had a conversation about for roughly 2 hours, and it's whole life insurance and why I would personally stay away from that. And then I'll also get into a few details on why it may be suitable for you or why it may not be suitable for you. And so to get things started off, if you look at the average policy that starts for non-smokers, it's going to be a little over $420 a month. And that equates to a little bit over $5,000 a year. If you know me and you know my story, you know I invest at least $6,000 in the stock market at the beginning of every single year. And so comparing apples to apples, I think it's roughly around the same type of math. So over a long period of time, you'll see that there are some things that you can do in the stock market that you can absolutely do with whole life insurance as well. One of those things is actually to borrow against the asset itself, use the money, liquidate the funds, take care of certain expenses that you may have. Of course, you have to pay it all back. But the average policy is around $500,000, which is about $500,000. Now, over a 30-year period of time, you, in the regular markets, at, let's say, a 10% average annual return, if you just invested in the S&P 500, you would average well over $500,000. You would average well over $500,000. But that's with the expectation that you would live a long life. You see, the thing that has always plagued my existence growing up was being told that life is short. And because life is short, you want to go ahead and do everything that you want to do now. In fact, it is the same term that really hinders so many people in life because they have no value of money. They have no understanding of money. They don't care for money. It's just something to blow off in the wind with the understanding that life is short. And so because you have no expectation of living a long life, you blow everything today. And so it doesn't give you an expectation of having to take care of an asset or to divest into other things and really build a future for yourself. And so you see people when they get into their late 30s or early 40s now start to truly invest into their life because they realize, well, I've lived this long, I've had this much fun, and I've done all these things. What else is there to do but now invest and grind? And over the years, I've realized that a lot of people are truly amazed at the discipline that it takes to simply just be on top. You see, life insurance, for the most part, would have little role to play in anyone's life should they, one, take care of themselves, eat healthy, do the right things. Now, granted, there are extenuating circumstances where, God forbid, somebody gets hit by a car or, I don't know, they go to sleep and they simply don't wake up. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anyone's loved ones. But for the majority of people who are healthy and able individuals, we understand that we're probably going to live to at least the average age of Americans today. And I would assume that that is above the age of 50 years of age. And so with that being the expectation, somebody Google and fact check me and tell me what the average age of an American is today. It's probably going to be closer to 60. I would assume that, you know, there's life to be lived and an expectation that if you actually stay disciplined, you'll get there. And so why do I stay away from whole life insurance? Well, it's because I invest the same amount and I understand that I'm going to triple that asset in the stock market versus any other means. And so because I know this and because I can see this and because there are calculators, there are different tools that can be used in order to understand this, it is simply up to you to say, do I want to continue down this path so that I can be in a better financial position moving forward? And if the answer is yes, then you have to start off slow. And you see, the hardest thing is the beginning, because the beginning, it's so hard to see where you're going in the beginning. Because in the beginning, the rate of return is just so minimal compared to what you'll see later on in life. And it's not that you're not getting the same rate of return, because I've experienced those 22% rates of return, those 10% rates of return, those 18% rates of return, the entirety of my investment journey. But the problem is that it was with $2,000, $4,000, $10,000. And then when you start to see better numbers like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000, now those rates of returns look so much different. It is so much more impactful, and it means so much more to actually see that growth and actually see how it affects your portfolio. You see, one of my goals eventually became after looking at all these other YouTubers is to say, yo, I'm going to be investing X amount of dollars, but my investments will be investing even more than that because of the time that I put in and because of the strength of my portfolio. And so I say all that to say that even if you average a 10 or a 12% return in the stock market, that would far outweigh anything that you could do with a whole life policy. And so people are looking for other ways to divest and do other things. And they say, why not both? Why not do everything, right? Why not diversify as far as you possibly can? Because not everything is worth stretching yourself out so thinly. In fact, sometimes it's better to put all your eggs in a few baskets than every basket. I'm not saying just one basket, although there are some that do that and are very successful. But putting your eggs in just a few baskets that actually have some impact, actually have some historical data that back it up, and actually have shown greater returns is definitely worth looking into. Now, if you have the sense, if you have the mindset, if you have the discipline, if you have the fortitude, if you have the understanding to invest in the stock market like I do, then you should absolutely do that versus any other option. So with that being said, if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.